welcome to PCC Connection. I'm Michael Engel, your host. This is a very special out of the studio edition or segment of PCC Connection. We're here at the Marriott Convention Center downtown, and of course Pueblo, Colorado, the home of the heroes. And I happen to be with a series of heroes that we'll be interviewing in the next half hour to 45 minutes. Let me take you back to 1968. It was January 1968, and in the Sea of Japan, a 179-foot ship named the USS Pueblo was off the coast of North Korea, and its primary function was to gather intelligence. And those of you who know the story of the USS Pueblo know that at one point, on January 23rd, 1968, North Koreans surrounded the USS Pueblo and at one point fired upon that ship and its crew. One of those men, Dwayne Hodges, was killed, and subsequent to that, Captain Pete Bucher and his crew surrendered and became at that point prisoners of war to the country of North Korea. The 82 surviving crew members with Captain Bucher were held hostage as prisoners of war for the next 11 months before their release finally, and they were back on American soil December 23rd, 1968. The story of the USS Pueblo that's the beginning point, and there were many other things that happened after that, but let me get to one of our first guests here who I think is certainly one of those heroes, Mr. Don Bailey, who was a communications technician aboard the USS Pueblo and who was again subsequently held as a prisoner of war in North Korea for 11 months. First of all, welcome to Pueblo, and thank you for visiting with us today.
Glad to be here.
You're glad to be here, no doubt. You guys are having your 46th annual or 46th reunion here. And first of all, on behalf of the citizens of Pueblo, thank you for choosing Pueblo and honoring us with your presence here. I want to talk about some painful things, no doubt. How old were you in 1968 when you were aboard the Pueblo?
38 years old.
38 years old?
Yeah.
You were truly one of the oldest crew members, and you were also one of the key individuals who was literally doing some of the spying, if you will, as a communications technician. Collecting information.
Yeah.
But I want to take you back to January 23 to 1968, and you certainly were aware that the Soviet subchaser had come up around you, and then you were surrounded at one point. Can you briefly describe your first reaction of what you were feeling when you...
Well, it was the first time for me to be in that kind of a position. And the only thing I could think of is what we've been taught all along, was start getting rid of the classified information. So I got busy doing that.
And destroying papers, but also were you trying to destroy the equipment as well?
Oh, yes, yeah.
But some of that equipment wasn't easily destroyed, right?
No, one of the pieces of equipment that we used was really sensitive when we worked with it. You know, we had to be careful and make sure everything's done. Don't bump it or go out of sync. I pounded that with a sledgehammer and didn't phase it a bit.
It wouldn't break or anything?
It kept right on working.
Let me take you to when the North Koreans eventually boarded the ship. Can you tell me what happened at that time?
Well, I really don't know much what happened because I'm in this one little room.
Was that the Special Operations hut, essentially? Okay.
Crypto room, and nobody else could get in there. That didn't have a combination. Even the captain couldn't get in. So the biggest part I remember is they kept pounding on the door, wanting in, And I had a little bitty peek hole I could see who was out there. Well, the captain was out there, and he couldn't open the door, and they had beaten him trying to get it to open.
The North Koreans were beating the captain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I finally decided, well, they're going to kill him if I don't open that door. But the whole time I'm thinking, every movie I ever seen where the enemy went aboard the ship, as soon as they open the radio shack, they shoot.
Yeah.
So I knew, or I felt like I opened that door, they're gonna shoot me.
You were prepared to die?
Yeah, but I figured if I don't open that door, they're gonna kill him. They're beating him to death. So I opened the door, and then they hit me there in the back of the head, knocked me cold.
Yeah.
And then after that, they blindfolded me, and they put us up top deck where it's cold.
It's pretty cold on the Sea of Japan in January.
Yes, you better believe it.
Your next memories, I assume, were being on land and blindfolded and led through a crowd of angry citizens.
Oh yeah, they didn't like us. I don't know why, we never done anything to them, but they thought we did, I reckon. Yeah, they run the ship aground, and it was like this, leaning.
Sitting at an angle?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they just put a plank, like a 2-by-6 plank. We walked us down that blindfolded. They let us down that.
That little narrow gangplank? Yeah.
Yeah, they let us down that, and then all them people were hollering at us, It was really scary because you can't see. You got you blindfolded, and you don't really know what to expect, what's going on, That's the biggest fear I found out. The biggest fear is the unknown.
And being blindfolded just added to that.
Then you have no idea what's going on around you. You can't see, or you could hear it. And all the noises we could hear, none of them sounded good,
Yeah.
So.
In talking with a lot of your crewmates, one of the things that I think I've got a sense from, and I want to ask you this, Mr. Bailey, is were you expecting in the next 2 or 3 days that the Americans would perhaps respond and bomb, and that perhaps you would?
Yeah, we felt sure something was going to happen. Something was going to happen. Nothing ever did,
And let me ask about your reaction and maybe some of your crewmates to that. At some point, were you disappointed, or were you just, tell me about those feelings when you realized that maybe the Americans were not responding.
Yeah, you feel bad, you feel like, well, I can't understand why nobody come, because we know there's some more of a fleet not that far away. They weren't right there, but they was within probably half an hour they could be there.
Oh.
Nothing ever happened, So you kind of feel like, well, they forgot about us. They don't care about us.
Right.
That's how you feel, That's like I told them at the court inquiry when we got back. I said all the beatings, kicking around that we took didn't hurt near as bad as the fact that the largest navy in the world never come to our aid. That's something that you figure is automatic, should have been.
Yeah. You knew Dwayne Hodges.
Yeah, well, I knew him.
Knew him as a shipmate,
yeah.
Right? And of course, he's one of the one of your shipmates who was killed when the North Koreans fired. Did that add to this incredible tension and uncertainty that if you knew that they have killed one of our
you're
shipmen?
next,
Yeah, and
that's what you feel. Well, possibly next. You don't know that, but you.
Yeah.
Like I said, the biggest fear was fear itself. For some reason, you don't know what's going on.
Right. You're watching a special segment of PCC Connection. We are here visiting with members of the USS Pueblo crew. They've chosen Pueblo for their 46th reunion. I'm visiting with communications technician, Mr. Don Bailey. Your nickname was Beetle Bailey.
Beetle Bailey.
And we're just talking about January of 1968 and really through most of 1968. Talk about your 11 months there. I know there were a lot of bad memories, obviously, with frequent beatings and indoctrination training. Did you, after 5 or 6 months, were you pretty convinced that you were probably just going to spend the rest of your life, and at some point you would die in North Korea?
I didn't figure it'd be that bad. You know?
Yeah.
I figured we're going to be there for a while until the governments finally got their heads together, you know. But you know, when you get in a position like that, you're in the military, so you're government property.
Yeah.
So you've got to wait till the people are sitting in the White House with their feet up on the desk smoking cigars. You got to wait for them to make up their mind what they're going to do.
And tell me about what you did. 24 hours a day, you sat around.
Rubber band, kill flies. That kept us busy. There's a lot of flies over there to kill.
I know that a lot of the crew members kept drawings of favorite food in their pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Was that something you did as well?
Well, we couldn't get a hold of it. You had to draw us.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything over there. They give us an apple once a day, or once a week. I don't know how, not very often, but little bitty puny apples, but they thought they were great. They tasted pretty good, because we was eating nothing but boiled rice.
And turnips, I think it was turnip soup.
Turnips, boiled rice, but no seasoning. That's what got me.
And you lost a lot of weight.
Well, I went from 182 down to 80, or down to 102.
It's a lot of weight in a 11-month period.
Well, my biggest part of my legs was about like my arms, you know.
I want to go to December, December 23rd. If I understand correctly, you were notified by the North Koreans on Sunday the 22nd that you were probably going to be released. Yeah. And I know from talking with some of the other crew members, there was still uncertainty whether you actually would be. Yeah. But on the 23rd, they put you on a bus and then took you to Panmunjom to take that long, cold walk across the bridge.
That was a long walk, too.
It was?
Well, what worried me most of all is at that time, most of these guys, the crew was anywhere from 19 to early 30 or
young
early
kids.
20. Young kids.
Yeah.
And they took the younger ones first, the older person. The older you were, the further back you were.
Oh, okay. It went by age.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew there ain't no way I'm ever going to make it across that bridge. Because them kids they're supposed to stay so far apart, walk straight ahead, don't look around, don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I said,
you were convinced they were going to bolt or something?
one of them kids is going to give them the finger, you know.
Yeah.
And then I ain't going to make it.
And you're not going to make it.
But they all got across.
Everybody did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I was told when you reached the South Korean side and they whisked you off to the, I think, 121st evac hospital, that you had chicken noodle soup and ham sandwich.
Yeah, they had steaks out there for us. This admiral come in and made them take them away because they said them guys haven't had anything to eat for. Said they wouldn't be able to eat that. So they brought up chicken noodle soup, bologna sandwiches. That was our feast, and it was a feast.
It was a feast.
Yeah.
Were your mom and dad, when I assume they were still alive then?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you finally get to see them?
It was, I got to see my wife and my kids just as soon as we got back to the States. That was right after the Christmas, you know. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see my folks for another 3 months, you know, after indoctrination or whatever they call it.
Yeah, kind of that debriefing period.
Yeah, after that, it was after that before I got home. But the big thing when I got home was, to me, what I felt was the big thing. They had a welcome home for me at the Legion, and all the Boy Scouts was there. And I got out of the car to go in, and all them Boy Scouts was standing there saluting me, you know. So I saluted them back.
That meant a lot, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Because these guys are all just kids, you know. I suppose 15 or 16 would be the oldest ones, and they were from real small on up. But they were saluting me, you know. It made me feel good. Yes.
I want to ask you a final question, and then we'll let you go. What did you tell your children about your experiences and your thoughts about what had happened? Was there something that you wanted them to take from your experience?
Well, I wanted them to realize that no matter what they do in life, there's always going to be something unexpected. And just to be theirself. Be honest to yourself, the main thing. Don't be a phony, you know, just be who you are. You're a country boy, always be a country boy, you know. That's
Sounds like pretty good advice.
Well, that's the best I can tell them, because they got their life to live, and if they can't be true to themselves, well, that's bad.
Don Beetle Bailey, communications technician, crew member of the USS Pueblo, and as far as we're concerned, an American hero. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming to Pueblo, and our hope is that the 50th anniversary, we might have you guys back in Pueblo. I know there's some discussion about that.
I'm still here then. I'll be 85, you know, in January, so I'm getting up there.
Well, you still got some years left in you, I take it. You're watching PCC Connection. Please don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have some more crew members to visit with. We'll be right back.